Um, Before we jump into this sermon, before we do announcements, then a sermon, you know what I'm saying. I told Keisha during the song I Surrender. So we are Americans. I don't know if y'all knew that. Yeah, spoiler alert. So the issue that we have as American Christians is when we sing a song like I Surrender, the only way we have been taught the word surrender is in war. And further, we talk about the wars that we have won. And so when we talk about surrender, what pictures, at least in my head, initially, is people walking out with their hands up, right? And they're giving themselves up to somebody who is going to domineer and beat and like kill them and like do all these really bad things to them, right? So then when we sing a song like I Surrender, it's like, I'm okay. I'm gonna sing it because it's on, but like, and so we have this picture, and most of us may not see it. We may feel it and not know that that's what we feel, but like, I don't want to give myself to a God who is going to who's going to waterboard me, you know? That makes sense? Nah, that baptism and waterboard is two way different things. Not even close. Like, yeesh. I'm like, dang, if that's the case, we got to revisit a lot of U.S. history recent in the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but when we think about that, I told Keisha, the reason we have a hard time surrendering to Jesus is because we think that's what he's going to do. That we are giving up all these good things that make my life so great. And I'm walking into a situation where the Father is about to just like treat me like trash all the time. So I don't want to give anything up because he's not going to let me have fun. In very simple terms, right? He's not going to let me have fun. So I don't want to surrender to that. I'll pass. It's okay. But I will sing, Jesus, we love you. Thank you for giving your life for me. How great a king. Yeah. I'm here for this. But if I actually took the time to see and understand who the Father is, what Jesus has done, the freedom he actually wants me to live in, well, yeah, like I surrender to that for sure, you know? Anyway, just something to think about. Dang, I got the YouTube video up. I look tight. I look better. Like, you know how you put on an outfit, you look better. Like when you see yourself later, you're like, man, I look better than I thought that outfit looked, you know? That's just the moment that hit me. So welcome to my brain. Just because I'm up here preaching, like y'all know, I'm still me, you know? I'm still me. I'm watching just in case there's any comments, not to check my fit. Anyway, neither here nor there. Announcements. I told Nani this week, we're only going to do 3 announcements from here on out because I talk too much. And I'll be up here freestyling and like the announcements. I'm doing it right now. Cool. This week's announcements. First one. Giving. Thank you all to those who have been giving. We really appreciate you and Jesus and your obedience to Jesus so that we can keep this room semi-warm most of the time on a Sunday morning. But yeah, thank you. All the money that you do give, it goes to our rent. Jenny and I get a stipend every month. And then it used to go to books and food, but we have like slowed that down a lot. And now it's just going into the bank so we can stack this cash. Utilities, yeah, all the things. But that is where your money is going. So you know, when you do give, this is not a secret society where I'm just like, yeah, I got an extra bank account for myself that I can just do stuff and buy cool jackets with so I can look tight on YouTube. That's not what's happening here. I get a stipend, and most of that goes to, all of it goes to my mortgage because thank you, Jesus. So, yeah, that is where your money goes to. So thank you all for giving. Thank you for being obedient to Jesus. We are on the up and up in 2023. If you have an idea, please, please, please share it with someone from the board. Me, Fathom, Vic, Daniela, Justin, Nani, Jenny. You got an idea? Like I said last week, we are all here for ideas, which I want to double down on that movie with you, Joelle. Not her and I like going to the movies. She had an idea for the church to go see a movie together. It's like, dang, that's a weird way to just ask somebody on a date in front of everybody. Yeesh. No, it was a group date together with it as a church. But yeah, if you got an idea, please bring that to us because, and we'll talk about it in the sermon, everybody sees different things and has a different perspective. And so I would be crazy to think that I'm the only one that gets the ideas for the church. So please, if you have an idea, bring it up. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. You will be the person that is leading that idea. I need you to know that for sure. Yeah, if it's like doing stuff, like you got to go get the information and bring it back and gather the people. I will send a text message for you. I'll send as many text messages as you want me to send. Just don't make me gather the information. So that is that. If you've got an idea, let's make our church the best church of all time. Lastly, if you do have a musical talent or some soundboard stuff, come see me. We got some plans for Easter. I'm really excited, and I want to get started early on Easter and what that could be like, what it looks like, all those things. So, yeah, you play an instrument, you sing, I don't know, you dance. I'm here for a person just up here dancing the whole time, no twerking. But outside of that, sorry. Oh, Dalton, dang it. My bad, dog. No twerking. So sorry. Sorry. He was like, yes, this is my chance. Oh, dang it. No. But yeah, if you do, please come see me. And we're going to make some stuff happen for Easter. So if you are not receiving text messages from Oasis and you would like to stay up to date, please text TEA to 575-222-8985. I never explained this part. When you do text that, you're going to get 2 text messages. One's going to say, hey, thanks for signing up. Now you're going to get text messages from Oasis, and then you're going to get another one that has my name on it that's like, hey, thank you so much. Give us your first name. So if you do text T, send your first name so we can address you in the text messages that have first names. A lot to say for a little bit of information. That's it. Any questions on any of those things before we go into this sermon? All right, let's go. I'm really excited about this. Today is Recap Sunday. This is the first time that we are officially doing a recap for real. Every series from here, at the end of the series, we are going to have a Recap Sunday with your questions. So if you have questions during the series, write them down. You can ask me during the process. And if not, or if you get them answered or don't get them answered, let me know. And so today, that is what we are doing. So sanctification, that is what this series is on. We were like, this year, that's what we're talking about. Sanctification. What does that even mean? It is the process of becoming or being made into someone who is set apart as sacred for God's purposes. That last part is the word holy. Someone who is being set apart as holy. The word holy is being set apart as sacred for God's purpose. That makes sense, right? So the purpose, God's purpose, what was the purpose from the jump? God is chilling with Jesus and the Holy Spirit, all the angels in heaven. They're hanging out, having a good time. And God said, Genesis 1, 27, 26 and 27, let us, the Trinity, make man in our image. Why? Literally, the only reason that God made man was to join in relationship with them. He was like, man, this is such a good time. Us three and the angels, it's all this love. We high-fiving up here. People need to experience a real good high five. Let's create some people. And then they can also give high fives. They can give some hugs. They can laugh. They can enjoy relationship and community. And so the purpose of us today is to help other people come back into that love. It is for us. Me first. I got to love God. He loves me back. Well, he loves me first. I love him back. And as he is loving me, I learn to love me like he loves me. And as I love me, I can now love other people because I'm actually moving and operating and living in real love. And so now that I have all this good stuff going on, now I got good stuff to give away to people. And then people are like, oh, dang, you're a really great person. What is this about you? And you can say, well, Jesus. I don't stress out because Jesus he takes care of the things for me. And I love it. Would you like to have that too? And that person's like, yeah. Do I have to do this? No, you just believe. That's it. You just believe in Jesus. And the rest will begin to happen in you. Literally. And so that is the whole purpose, for us to show up every day wherever we are and to love people well. But I can only do that if I love myself well, and I can only do that if I love the Father well, and I learn to do that because the Father always loves me well. That's tight. So for me to access this, prayer, I have to pray just to make it today. Thank you. MC Hammer, anybody? Yeah. It's like, that was like deep in there, but I was like, gosh, 5 years old, 6 years old, we need to pray. I work out, but not enough to do the dance to that song, you know? Anyway, prayer, the act of building rapport with the Father through deliberate communication. I have to, on purpose, I have to make it a point to talk to him. I have to make it an actual point to talk to him. Every relationship that I have with people, I know them as much as I have conversation with them, right? We know a lot of people, but we only call like 2 or 3 people our best friend. And those best friends know more about us because we have, 1, spent more time with them. 2, we have shared a lot more words with them than other people. And so if I'm going to build this relationship with the Father, I have to deliberately communicate with him. I have to make it a point to say, hey, God, what's up? Start right there. It's a good place to start. You already acknowledge the Father, and you're ready to hear what he's got to say back. Boom, conversation started. It's the simplest way. Just start where you are. If you want to say more than, hey, God, what's up? Jesus gave us a whole prayer, the Lord's Prayer. We broke that down. I'm not going to go through all of it. But the Lord's Prayer overall helps me, 1, keep my eyes on the Father as the greatest thing that has ever happened to mankind. 2, it helps me trust in him. And 3, it is a prayer that literally I am asking him to remove the things that I don't need in my life so I can be more like him, so I can go love the people how he wants me to love them. That is what the Lord's Prayer is in a nutshell. It's a lot of stuff, but basically I'm just like, yo, Lord, I want to be like you. All the stuff that you do, I want to do that too. Help me do those things and keep me away from the things that I am not strong enough to stay away from myself. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That is the Lord's Prayer. So the Lord's Prayer will then lead me into this place where Jesus says, take up your cross and follow me. Any person who comes behind me, any person who follows me must take up their cross, deny himself, and follow me. And we broke this down that this is just not a denial of, like, we don't put ourselves in a suffering position, because most of the time, if we willingly put ourselves into a position of suffering, it's so that we can get a badge so we can tell other people, hey, I suffered, remember? So you owe me. Yeah, you should pat me on the back because I was like, oh, let me suffer for them. That's not real. That's just a selfish gain at that point. But Jesus says, in denying yourself, what are the things that I am denying? I am denying what we call sin. Sin is just a lack of love. Anytime I have a lack of love towards the Father, a lack of love towards myself, or a lack of love towards anybody who is not me, those are the things that I am trying to deny. So majority of the time, they're going to come in interpersonal relationships. Judy said something to me, and I did not like it. Judy came up to me one Sunday and was like, hey, you're wearing that stupid Jets jersey. That team sucks. First, I wanted to cry, but then I wanted to say something back to her. Like the Broncos suck. Right? It's a true statement, but we all know this. Hey, we all know this. We all know this. Relax. But the fact that it's true doesn't make it okay for me to say because my feelings got hurt. This is the piece that I am actively denying. If Jesus, which I fully believe is a Jets fan, I don't think that his feelings would be that hurt that he needs to say to Judy that her team sucks. Simple story, but very effective. Because when I operate from a place of a lack of love, what good does that do to Judy? What good does that do for our friendship? What good does that do as pastor and person who comes to Oasis? What good does that do? It doesn't do any good. And so I have to deny not my feelings. Yeah, it hurt my feelings. What I am denying is the response I want to give from my hurt feelings. That is what is being put on the cross. So if I want to be like Jesus, maybe I say, hey, Judy, that really hurt my feelings that you said that. It really hurt me. Well, Rafer, why would I say that it really hurt me when I could just say, yeah, that's how we've been conditioned to just respond to people. So you're going to feel like you lose the argument. You're going to feel like you don't get to clap back. You're going to feel like you don't get the upper hand. You don't get the leverage. You don't get all for the sake of building each other up. Hey, Judy, I know my team sucks. So like next time, you don't have to make it so pointed. You could just say like, hey, I see y'all won 2 more games than you did last year. Good job. I mean, we still suck, but like, dang, that's way better than saying like you got on the stupid Jets jersey and your team sucks. It's a difference. And so me being the person who responds, that is what I'm denying. Further, Jesus says to follow him. Follow him. Take up your cross and follow me. And it means to walk with him. Jesus knows what it's like to have people say things that hurt your feelings. Jesus knows what it's like to have self-control and discipline. Jesus knows what it's like to be separated from the Father and have to get back. Now, granted, he did not experience that until he was on the cross, but he knows what it feels like. And because he knows what it feels like, this is what I surrender to. I surrender to somebody who is going to lead me through my life in every situation and give me the exact way that I should respond to people. That makes sense? So, picking up my cross, denying myself, walking with Jesus because he understands will lead me into pruning my heart. I had no idea what was next until the slide clicked. Thank you so much. Pruning my heart, staying connected to the vine. Again, words of Jesus. Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Every branch that produces fruit, my Father is going to prune so that you can produce more fruit. We talked about the fruit being the fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, kindness, gentleness, self-control, benevolence. I become this person that I cannot be on my own. And God literally will come through my life at different points, and you only know where the points are when you get into the situation and you still want to punch somebody right in their front teeth. The front teeth. Bow. That's when I know that I still have something that needs to be pruned or cut away from me, because that is not how Jesus would want me to respond. And so the more that I am praying the Lord's Prayer, Jesus, make me like you. Give me the things that help me not snap back at Judy. Give me the things that are going to help me reach out to her and be like, yo, is everything okay? Give me the tools. But it won't be until the moment that something is said or something is done that I know I worry about this. That something happens and I know, oh, this makes me really angry. Oh, this hurts my feelings. Oh, this strikes a chord with me that goes back to when I was 6. Yeesh. Oh. Yeah, self-control can be very hard to have in the moment. It's comment on YouTube. But this is the beauty of self-control. It's not from me. It is the fruit of the Spirit that is produced in me. And the more that like I said, the more that I pray this prayer, the more that I take up my cross and I follow Jesus, guess what? I'll get to the point where I want to say something back. But the Spirit says, hold on 1 second. Process this real fast. Why does this hurt your feelings so much? Why does it matter that much? What do you need to prove? And you get humbled really fast. And then you say the thing that the Spirit wants you to say, because I already prayed, make me like you, Jesus. And so it's not even self-control because I have self-control. It's self-control because the Spirit helps me keep my mouth shut. The Spirit helps me actually say the things that need to be said. The Spirit actually helps me move forward like Jesus would want me to move forward. That's really good. It is produced in me, and these things, the lack of love issues, are going to be removed from me the more I give myself and surrender to real love in the Father. That makes sense? Yeah? Cool. So that's the recap. The question, before you put it up there, we got a really good question, and it was from Joe Strickland. He saved me. I was stressing out because it was Thursday. I'm a sermon prep on Friday morning, and I had nothing, you guys, nothing. Like when I'm saying, pray for me, that Jesus gives me something to talk about, that is not, like I'm not joking. Like literally, I'm like, well, Jesus, I don't know if you know how church goes, but I normally go up there and I talk to the people. And the Spirit in real time gives me some stuff to say, even though I have a sermon. But right now we're at the part where like I need something to say. So I need you to hook me up. And so Joe sent this very great question. Very great question. Is actualizing what God made me to be the same as sanctification's special purpose from God? As I become who God made me to be, does that count as sanctification? Or does it move me into or toward God's special purpose? Does the question make sense? As I become the best version of me, or however you want to say it, is that the same as the process of walking into God's special purpose? As I become the best version of me. That make sense? Yes? Okay. Because I don't want to answer the question and we got to have the same starting point. Cool. So in short, the answer is yes. In short, yes, it is the same, but there's a lot more context that comes with the answer. So we're going to unpack the depths of this because that's what Jesus gave me to say. So, number one, remember, the only special purpose overall is for us to love God, love ourselves, and love others. Everything that we do comes down to this because this applies to everything. It doesn't matter where you are, what you do, how you do, whatever. This always is going to be the thing that I am trying to do. This is the point of all of it, for God's children to come back into relationship with him. Now, how this is expressed is the answer to the question. Because we are all here to love God, we are all here to be loved by God, to love ourselves and love others as we love ourselves, but it is in me loving myself that helps me see and know my special purpose or my part in the special purpose. That makes sense? Yes? No? Okay. So as I love myself, I learn things about me that I may not have known because I had all this trauma that I was just reacting from all the time. So I'm just telling people, yeah, that's my trauma response. And then that's it. It's like, no, work through it. There's more. There's more after that. But as I learn who I am, as I become the best version of me, I can clearly see my part in the special purpose. So let's look at Psalm 139. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. That's really good. So all of us, gosh, this is so good. All of us have been made intricately. God knew the days we were formed for. God knew the day, he made each and every one of us for this specific life. He knew the days that were coming before the days got to us. This is why Jesus said, follow me, because Jesus literally knows what's coming. This is why we operate in love, because he already knows what's coming. This is already lined out. He knows who we are. He formed our inner parts. He gave each and every one of us something to express his love to other people. That makes sense? Everybody here has a different skill set to express God's love. That's tight. He gave us a way to think and to see things. He gave each of us something that, when added together with those around us, makes a wonderful and beautiful body. 1 Corinthians 12, verses 12 to 31 talks about this. Yes, Paul is talking about spiritual gifts, and he's running them down, and he's like, hey, can y'all stop fighting over this? Because it's one Spirit who is given the gifts anyway. They're not your gifts. They're gifts. It's like last night, we were at Eva's birthday party, and Trey was like, I didn't get any gifts. It's not your birthday. You have a whole birthday that you get all the things. And that's what Paul was saying. Can y'all stop? Like, y'all mad at each other for the gifts you got, but nobody actually went and bought the gifts for themselves. They were given to you. And so he says everybody has something to bring to the table. He says we're all one body, but we are many members. We all can't be an ear. We all can't be a hand. We all can't be a leg. Somebody's got to be a foot. Somebody is an arm. Somebody is the stomach. It's a body. You need each and every piece for the body of Christ to function. And it's only when we fully step into the things that God has given us individually that we can see the beauty when they all come together. That makes sense? So the issue that we have with this is so tight. I'm so excited. The issue that we have in churches today is that we have so many limited things for people to offer said gifts. So, yeah, we either have the limited things or we only see church as this place and we don't see what Jesus actually intended when he gives everybody a different gift and how that is supposed to be expressed in the world every day. So Jesus said that he was building an ecclesia. This word in the Greek simply means an assembly or a gathering. So when we read it in the English, it says, Jesus says, I am building my church, right? The problem with that is translation. I forget when it was, what version it was, but it's in the book Ecclesia. He breaks it all down and he says, hey, this is what happened. Jesus said, I want to build an assembly or a gathering of people that come together, discuss the things, what we're doing, how we're doing, why we're doing, and then they go their separate ways and they do the things. That's what Jesus intended, because at the time, the ecclesia, it was just a group of people who say they were Roman citizens and they live somewhere other than Rome. So they're in Rome, or they're from Rome, but they live in Jerusalem. They're from Rome, they live in Athens or whatever. They're from Rome, they live in Miami. Cool. Just making it plain to us in America. You know, geography, we're like, I said Athens, people were like, yeah, Greece somewhere, But I said Miami, everybody was like, boom, right there on the map. I know exactly where they are. So it's the thing. It's the thing. Anyway, so they would come together, discuss the happenings in the city between each other, and from there they would make decisions or judge each other. If there was an issue between two people, the rest of the group would be like, hey, this is fair, this is not fair, give the toy back, it's hers, whatever, right? From there, they would then go out and live as Roman citizens in Miami, living accordingly to Roman law. So yeah, they're going to respect the laws of the United States, of Florida, of Miami, but we hold ourselves to a higher standard because we are Roman citizens. That's the ecclesia. And so Jesus said this is what he's building. He's building an assembly of people that come together to settle differences, to decide how they live outside of their specific meetings, but they only come together for strength and hope and a place to see other people that actually know how they're supposed to be living. That makes sense? This group only is supposed to come together so we can be like, hey, how's it going? It's going really well. Or this at my job or whatever. They're crazy. I don't know. Stay strong, dog, and let me know if I need to cut somebody's ear off. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but I can at least pull my sword out. Let me know. And then we all go our separate ways, and we live like Jesus wants us to live. Because as long as we live here on earth, we are not living in the kingdom of heaven. Does that make sense? The kingdom is not here on earth. We literally pray that in the Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So what we do on a Sunday morning has turned into something it wasn't supposed to be. For Christians in America, this is the highlight of the week. This is the big thing. This is where I just show up and I get and I get and I get. And then I just go and I live and I'm having a good time. I don't have any real, like, what am I supposed to do outside of this? I'm just like, let me eat all the stuff. It's the buffet. We got some music over here. We got a speaker over here. We got some announcements. We got the kids out the way. I can think without saying, like, answering a question. This is great. But I lose what Jesus intended when I leave here because my idea of the ecclesia is this building, not an assembly that comes together to make sure we're all on the same page to then go out and do the things we're supposed to do. That's tight. This is actually, let me actually say the point. So that is why we come here to meet. From this point, we all go out and live according to the big special purpose by doing the specific special purpose that we've all been given. That makes sense? We come here, make sure we're all on the same page in the big special purpose, but then we all go out and we give from our own specific special purpose to others for the sake of the big special purpose. And honestly, this is my dream for Oasis, that we only come here to move out effectively and on purpose with the things that God has given each of us as individuals. That is my dream for this. That's why it's so different. Because we're not here to just like have a good time on Sunday. Like, no, I want all of us to be so effective when we leave here that people don't necessarily need to come here on a Sunday morning to get the goods because you got the goods. You see so many people in the week that I will never see. And it's my job to actually empower that and give you the room to grow in that. You think I want to stand up here every week? I don't. Spoiler alert. I would much rather be sitting anywhere else than standing up here. I understand that's what Jesus mostly wants me to do. Not mostly, but kind of, like sometimes. But selfishly, like, I'll run the computer. I will. But that's the beauty of this. We're supposed to come here just to get a pep talk, high fives. You killed it this week, Amy. That's what's up. Roland, we'll be there with our swords on Tuesday. Natasha, keep your head up. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. Jesus, Also, we should end church like that every week. Yeah, the kids are going to love it. They're going to love it. Could you imagine, though, real quick, before we finish this, before we keep going, could you imagine growing up in a church? You're 6 years old, and every Sunday you get a 1, 2, 3 Jesus break. And now as a 6-year-old, you're like looking where you can be like Jesus in your 6-year-old life, which mostly is just going to come back on your parents because you're going to act crazy. But then you're going to be like, well, you should be like Jesus, Mom. It's like, I should punch you in your teeth. I should right now. But could you imagine that? 6, 7, 12, 13, 14? That's how I actually come to church with something. Let me get something that I can go and be like Jesus later with the skill set that he's already given me. Yeesh. Okay, Since we've all been made intricately, we've all been given something, we should be using the gifts that God has given us. And we should be using the gifts outside of the four walls. We should be using the gifts outside the four walls. The parable in Matthew 25 talks about a ruler who gives different amounts of money to three different dudes. The first guy gets 10. Bow, bow, bow. We can call them bands for the sake of 2023. You know, that makes sense. Judy, you on track? Fathom? Brenda, y'all good? Bands. It's when the money's in a rubber band. So. Okay. Yeah. Now y'all can listen to rap and know what's going on. Have a good time. Have a really good time. Have a good time. So Matthew 25, Jesus says this ruler, boom, 10 bands. 10 bands, 5 bands, 1 band, right? So the guy with 10 goes out, or the ruler leaves. He comes back. The first guy says, yo, you gave me 10 bands. I flipped them. I doubled your money. The ruler's like, thank you so much. You have been faithful among these few things. I am now going to give you more responsibility. Enter into my joy. The second guy says, yo, you gave me 5 bands. I doubled it. Here you go. And he says the same thing. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will give you more things to be faithful over. Enter into my joy. The last one says, hey, I know that you don't play when it comes to your money. I know that you got your money working for you. You got people, you taking money back on money that you're not making personally. I know this. I didn't think that I had any worth or anything to do to actually double your money. So I buried it. And the ruler's like, what? You buried it? One, you're about to be kicked out the city where there is gnashing of teeth. You're about to just die. I'm cutting you off. But 2, give what you have to the guy who doubled the 10. And Jesus literally says that the one who does with what he has will be given more, and the one who does nothing will have the little bit taken away from him. So this story is not specifically about money. It is about doing with what God has given you. It doesn't say what these guys did to double the money. But the point is that they went and did something with what they were given. The first guy could have been, I don't know, he could have been a piano player, and he could have went and bought a piano and then taught people piano lessons, and then boom, doubled the money. Look at him. The second guy could have been a house flipper and been like, yo, I really do well at flipping houses. I'm going to go buy the cheapest house on the block. I got my 5 bands. Watch this. Flips the house, sells the house, doubles his money. Boom. Who knows what these guys actually did? But they did something. And so we've all been given something, and it may not all look spiritual. It may not all look spiritual like we think. Before we get to the guys in the tabernacle, look at this. In church, we put you in 5 categories. You either stand up here and you speak, you can do music, you can do the technological stuff, you can work kids, or you get a lot of you give a lot of money, and so then we just ask you whatever you want to do because you give the most money. So if you don't fit into these 5 categories, right? If you don't fit into these 5 categories, then what is the nurse supposed to do at church? That's the point. The nurse is supposed to go be like Jesus at her job. There are people who are gifted to do the 5 things. Yeah, I do have a lot of money. But the person who's actually doing it with Jesus is like, I don't need to make decisions, though. Like, I'm just giving because God gave to me, and I know that, like, I'm just a person. Right? So look at these dudes. Old Testament, Exodus. I love this so much. Bezalel. So God gives the instruction on how to build the tabernacle. He is very specific. I think like Exodus like 23 or something through the end of the book. Chapter 31, these two guys pop up on the scene. Bezalel's the first one. He had skill, intelligence, knowledge, and craftsmanship to devise artistic designs, to work in gold and silver and bronze, in cutting stones for setting, and in carving wood. This guy had a literal gift to build things. I know for a fact Vic can do a lot of these things. I don't know anybody else in the room who's just like, yeah, I'm gonna build it. Not these, like, these hands will bake you a cake and make some mac and cheese, but that's about it. Like, stay in my lane. But this guy is given a legitimate gift that none of us would say is a spiritual one. Right? He's given a gift that nobody would say, oh yeah, that's a spiritual one. It does say that the Spirit of God came upon him to enhance what was already given to him. If he were living today, he'd help us build the church, and then we would only call him when we need a remodel. That's when we call him. Hey, Bezalel, we want to, thanks for building the church. I know we said what we wanted in the youth room, but we just need the walls extended a little bit. And we want some some jewels bedazzled on the wall. Can you put it? Yeah, he's like, yeah. I got you. We want the youth pastor to have like a breastplate of gold. He's like, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, dang, if I'm making that call, I'm like, bro, this is why I call you, man. I don't even know where to start. Where do you find the gold, man? What is happening? If he were living today, though, how would he make money if he was only waiting for the church to call him? How could he live? How would he use this massive gift to love others if he only used it at church? That's the point. This guy could have a statue business. He could be making trophies. He could be making sculptures. If I could make sculptures, do you know how much I would be getting paid to just make sculptures of people themselves? I mean, I would like to have a sculpture of myself. So let me start there. That would be my business, because it'd be like, yo, it's the coolest thing. You wake up and you're right there. Then you can literally have a conversation with yourself and nobody's saying you crazy. That would be my business. Thank you, AJ. He's clapping. He says, say that. Say that. But literally, he could have a statue business. He could make trophies. He could be making sculptures. And when people come into his business, how does he treat them? With the love of the Father. And people come back not because the sculptures are great. They're great, don't get me wrong. But people come back because of how he treats them. There's a guy down the street who does equal work for less money, but I come back to you because you really treat me well. I feel special when I come into your shop. Look at this other guy, Oholiab. Skill to do every work done by an engraver or by a designer or by an embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen and work by a weaver. This dude had magic hands to do stuff with fabric that nobody else was doing at the time. Again, this is not something that we would deem as a spiritual gift. And again, if he was here today, we would just be like, so yeah, that's your gift. Okay, cool. Can you just make like some curtains then? Or like, just in case we want to like divide the room. He's like, yeah. And then because it's the church, we're not going to pay him. Yeesh. Because he's doing the work for the Lord. We're going to pay him like, oh, we get the church discount because Jesus is going to pay the rest. Jesus paid it all, you know. What we gave was a bonus. That's how we treat people. And then we wonder why people leave, why people aren't doing this every day. Both of these guys had gifts that would be seen as not for the church. So because of that, can you just do children's? We're going to have you teach. I saw you speak one time. Go ahead. You can teach the kids. And then it's just Bezalel and Oholiab teaching kids for 6 months straight, dying. Because all of us down here are like, well, yeah, I mean, he does construction and the other guy does fabric stuff. Like, what is he going to do here? I'm glad we got somebody for children's. Thank you, Jesus. And we freeze people out of the body because we don't encourage them to go and do what they do outside of this particular body. Here's the thing. They don't look like spiritual gifts. They don't look like the things that God has given them, or they don't look like things God has given them because we think if it doesn't count, or we think it doesn't count if I can't use it at church. That's what we think. If I can't use it at church, well, then I can't do for God. So that's how we get a question like this. Is me becoming who I am supposed to be, is that part of the sanctification process? Yes, it is. Because for so long, you've been told that you only have a specific amount of gifts that you can give here at this church. And so for the person who's never going to speak, they either got to learn how to use a computer or they got to go upstairs to children's because they can't bankroll a whole mission trip for 72 kids. Thank you, AJ. Thank you. And so we don't see people come together because people feel frozen out. They feel like what I do well doesn't fit this, so I'll just show up, I'm going to enjoy service, and I'm going to go on about my life. But here is the beauty of it. As I live this life with Jesus, everything is a spiritual gift. Because all of it comes from the Father. All of us have been giving something that comes very easy to us. Everybody in here does something really well. And you do it so well, you don't even think that is that good because you can do it. It's so easy. It's so easy for you. It is so easy for you. You don't think twice about it. It is automated in your whole mind, in your whole body. You don't think twice about it. And when people are like, hey, you did that, you're just like, yeah. Yeah. Everybody here has something that comes very easy to them. Things that make us very excited to talk about. Things that on the surface, they may not work in a church setting. And if that is the case, then I should be using what God has given me as much as I can outside of these four walls. As much as these four walls matter, this is not the gist of it. We spend 2 hours here every week. 2. And it's like 2. That's not even being generous. Like, it's like a solid 2, you know? It's like we could shave it off, but then we still round up to 2, you know? But I am so many other places during the week. I should be using what God has given me. And because I'm doing this with Jesus, all of a sudden, everything is spiritual. Every single part of it, every time I talk to somebody, it is spiritual. So yes, becoming the best version of me or becoming all that God has made me to be is the same as sanctification for God's special purpose. As I walk the path and place myself in the process, the things will produce themselves. As I pray to become more like the Father and I deny myself and follow Jesus through life, and he begins to take away the useless things that I've been holding on to, I begin to see the things that I'm good at naturally. Think about that. If you operate from a place of trauma, you never actually get to see what you do well because you only have triggered responses. You only react when the alarm system is going off. So you never actually get to just see what things are like when you have peace. And it is in Jesus that I receive that peace. And from that peace, I can see, oh, dang, I'm really good at this. Oh, snap, God has blessed me with this. And further, I am going to find a way to give these things to people no matter what. No matter what happens, no matter what comes my way, God is giving me this thing, so I am going to give it to people because it is my expression of his love to them. That makes sense? And the things that I give will show people the love of the Father because I want what he wants. So I use the gifts I've been given to love those I come in contact with. No matter what it is, you may have a thing for numbers. You may have a thing for food and cooking. You may have a thing for being active and healthy. You may have a thing for teaching kids in a school setting. You may have a thing for finance. You may have a thing for technology or audio and video. You may have a heart for being a parent. You may have a thing for planning. You may have a thing for carving wood like Bezalel. You may be able to do things that others around you just cannot handle, or they find it very hard to do. Me, I have this uncanny ability to learn things pretty quickly and explain them in a way that people get it. Literally, I can listen to a person tell their life story and I see actual puzzle pieces falling. It's the craziest thing. It happens all the time. I can see puzzle pieces falling down. And not just that, but then there's this thing that pops up. It's like the quickest way to get out of the situation. The quickest, the easiest, it's a resource. I don't even know how or where this stuff is saved in my brain. I don't know. And Jenny will tell you, I was telling her, that's like, babe, I just learn stuff. And she said, you do. And it's annoying sometimes. But I know that that's not something that I practice to get good at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just something that it comes out of me so much that at the beginning of the year, I had to tell the church, hey guys, I am going to stop giving unsolicited advice. Because anytime I cannot explain it well enough. People literally could be talking about the recipe that they made last night and why it didn't work, and literally puzzle pieces, man. Well, did you try this? Did you try it? Well, I'm not trying it no more because X, Y, and Z. But I'm like, but you could try it, and you could try it like this. But that is something that God has given me. Part of that is this up here, to be able to communicate, yes. But again, I'm only here 2 hours a week. I'm not just standing here at the podium writing sermons and then giving them to people as they come in on different shifts during the week. No, I have to go live a life. So part of it, yes, is that I can communicate to a group of people. But more than that, I can see people where they are. And I know this, and I know that it is a gift that I have been given. And so I look for the opportunities when I leave here. Everybody has something. These are all the things that further the sanctification process. Dennis and Lorena, they already got like 8 kids as it is from them, from their own bodies. It's like 12, somewhere in there. But they have a heart for kids. And we wouldn't deem that spiritual unless we pull them into that corner next to the tree. Hey, so I see that y'all are coaching and, y'all picking up kids in the car and kids that's not your own and y'all doing all the things with the sports. I think you guys will be really great for children's upstairs. Could you imagine the pressure? But instead, I should go, man, let me just continue to give them the tools that they need to reach the kids that they're going to run into where they are. Because that is the spiritual gift they have been given. Most of us love our kids because they are our kids. I don't need more children at my house. I don't need more kids in my car. There's already enough popcorn on the floor. I don't need more. But Dennis and Lorena are like, yo, who want to go? And I would be crazy as a pastor to look at them and say, oh, you can only use that gift upstairs. Because they got kids at their house Monday through Sunday. Give them the tools. Jed loves cooking anything. Pick a meat, he's cooked it. For the joy of cooking. So the only time I call Jed, hey, so the church, we're doing this event. Joelle, she's going to put this thing together where we're going to the movies. But I was thinking before we go to the movies, we could all meet at the church and have dinner. So can you just come cook for us? And that's the only time I talk to Jed. Because he's got to use it for spiritual reasons. But everybody knows what comes with a plate of food. Usually a chair or a couch or 2 hours or 30 minutes or 40 minutes of conversation and just being with people. If I only reduce Jed to cooking for the church and never just give him the tools to be, he never sees himself as like, man, this is a legit gift that I have. Hospitality, we call it. If you want to get spiritual. You talk to Doc about higher education. Y'all know, Doc sit here, he don't move a lot. I was like, Doc, I'm gonna go back to school. He was like, what? Okay, how about this? I said, did you just do this? He said, yes, I did. What you gonna do? This dude, literally, I tossed out one thing that I wanted to do, and why it wasn't working, he printed off 3 separate degree plans for me in a matter of 30 minutes. He was asking the questions faster than I could answer them, but he has a gift to advise people in upper education. It was so fast. I was literally, and he will tell you, I was sitting there and I was like, whoa, like, this is what you do. But if I only say, hey, Doc, can you teach when I'm out of town? Because you're a professor, you could teach. Yeah, so you like, just teach when I'm out of town. I'm only out of town 5 weeks out of the 52 every year. We're squashing a gift that he could use when instead he could just be given, hey, go love people, man. And now everybody at ENMU who doesn't even have a psychology class, let alone minor or major, they want him as an advisor because of how he treats them. It doesn't look like a spiritual gift, but everything is spiritual when I tap into Jesus. Everything. As I continue to learn about me and I learn to love me and learn to use what I have been given, I'm only being made into the person who is set apart for God's special purposes. That makes sense? The more I do this, the more I spend time with Jesus, I will just keep becoming the person who is used for God's special purposes, regardless of what it looks like. We have all been given different expressions of how to love others. Everybody does it well, and everybody does it differently. I'm like, I'll research, but it's not going to be for school. No thanks. I give you a great pound cake recipe. But literally, everything is spiritual. So stop discounting what you have. Stop discounting who you are. Stop discounting the way you think. Stop discounting how God made you. Literally, Brooklyn, and we're going to close. We have this paper on our cork board at home, and it's the paper from when Brooklyn was dedicated. And one thing, I read it probably once a week, maybe once a month, every other week, somewhere in there. Y'all at some point have seen my daughter. You can say anything to her. Good morning. No! Like, where did that come from? Why so much attitude? And literally, what was said to us was that God created my daughter to be stubborn. So now I can't even blame this one on Satan. Like, I can't even be like, church, y'all need to pray for my daughter. She got this attitude. It is not of God. I guess stubbornness is of God. But he said where she needs to go in life, you, Jenny and Rafer, need to teach her how to use this. You need to teach her that I have given her a gift of stubbornness. One, what kind of gift is that, Jesus? I mean, it's great for her, but like, I really got to deal with this in the 3-year-old space. Just yesterday, she woke up from her nap, and I told Natasha this. She's crying because she wanted a snack. I want a snack. Jenny was like, you want some salami? And she was like, no. So Jenny hands the salami to Trey. Brooklyn then says, I want salami! And I was like, I'm just going to watch this one play out. Jenny looks at me, I look at her. Jenny is like, here? She gives her one. I want more! So then my daughter is sitting on the kitchen floor, t-shirt, panties, that's it, she's 3, with a stack, like as if she had an adult Lunchables of salami, crying. Ah! Ah! And I'm just trying to have a conversation with Jenny, you know? And I said, listen, you need to go in there in the living room and calm down. And when you're ready, when you're not crying anymore, we could leave. 30 seconds later, she comes in, she's like, I'm not crying anymore. I said, you sound like you're crying, so you should go back, no, you know? But it's in those moments. It's in these moments that I go, this is something that God himself has given my daughter. And because he gave this to her, he at least gave me the warning, don't kill it. Don't kill it. Teach her how to use this. Teach her how to make this her superpower. It's things that I need her to do specifically that you got to teach her how to use this. So when I tell my daughter, hey, come give me a kiss, and she says, I don't want a kiss, I don't force it. Because I need her to know that what she says matters now. Now, obviously, there's a line. You got to put pants on if we're going to go to the party, you know. But that's for me to figure out how to get her there, not for her to figure out to come on board. But again, this is not a gift that we would say is a spiritual gift. Yeah, I have the gift of stubbornness. The Lord gave it to me. I mean, it's literally going to be her in 20 years at whatever small group. And they're going to be like, I don't know. No, he really did. He gave me a gift of stubbornness. That's crazy. So if he can give her a gift of stubbornness, that's not even something that like, nobody here is like, yeah, that's a good one. No, that's like, what? We are all actively confused by why God would do that. But this proves the point. Everybody has been given something, and none of it is wasted. Be like the guy who took the 10 bands or the 5 bands or Bezalel or Oholiab. Be like them and just look for the opportunities to use the gifts that you've been given. As you perfect these things, literally, as you perfect these things, God is going to make you more perfect. You are more like him by becoming the best version of you. So as we go into the holy place, ask the Father what those things are and ask him to help you grow in that area or in those areas. Help me out, Jesus. And I guarantee you, because he gave you the gift, he is going to help you do just that. So let's go into the holy place.